mind. That is the responsibility towards the sasana. Then you should have to have good knowledge, as well as you should have to have a capability to guide the other parties in future. Because I think maybe now you have a one year ordination experience, maybe 2 year, maybe 5 year. In future, when you become 20 years experience in ordination life, what about at the moment there are 20 years maybe in our abbot, assume that now abbot maybe 35 or whatever the ordination year experience, he never remains same as. When you become 30 years Vasamin, abbot also going another 30 years. Then you become the leader in the future. You cannot be a leader without Dhamma knowledge. You should have a good Dhamma knowledge. You should have a good idea about Dhamma Vinaya. Not only the knowledge, but also the practical way. Then you can become a successful leader in a Dhamma, not for yourself, but for the help to the Buddha Sasana. The last time that is why I mentioned that the Buddha Sasana definitely within the 5,000 years, it will be disappear. No one cannot stop that. That is the Buddha's vision. Buddha knows that in this Buddha Sasana, when the 5,000 years is gone, it will be disappear. But Buddha says that the reason for that, because the elder monks, the elder teachers, maybe they don't have a good knowledge about Dhamma Vinaya, but they are always taking new students. When the lay people try to come to become a monk, they give the ordination for them. But they can give the ordination, but they cannot give the Dhamma because the teachers not learn much about Dhamma. Then the student think, oh, there is nothing to learn because teacher never teach anything. Then they also become empty of the knowledge. They become a higher ordination. Then they take higher ordination. They become higher monks. They become a abbot, or maybe they become a mahatera. Again they doing ordination to the freshers. Otherwise, the freshers mean the new bhikkhus, small bhikkhus. They also don't know how to teach to them because they also not learn. Then new bhikkhu also think, oh, there is nothing to learn because teacher never teach anything. Then the generation, the future generation, time by time, they become a lack of knowledge based on the Dhamma. Then what will happen? The Sasana will be disappear. That is the first reason. Other religion parties cannot destroy the Buddha Sasana. Even some terrorists come in this monastery, they can destroy all the buildings of this monastery. Sasana will never disappear. Even they come and destroy all the Thailand monasteries, temple and whatever the material things in the terrorists come and destroy, Sasana will never disappear. Destroying or vanish all the material things never become a disappearing of the Buddha Sasana. The Buddha Sasana is disappearing when you are not learn, when you are not capability to have a good Dhamma knowledge. At that time, Buddha Sasana will be disappear. So that is why the Sasana is, we can conclude in the 3 steps. First one is Pariyatti Sasana. Second one is Pratipatti Sasana. The third step, Prativeda Sasana. These 3 Sasana, if they are, then Sasana will be every time established, never vanish. Now you touch the first stage, that is Pariyatti Sasana. Why you are wake up at this time, maybe you have some sleepy, Maybe you feel not happy with this time. Luckily at this time, actually, Ajahn Mangala said that now is winter start. The environment is something cold. It's really good. However, now you are touched. You are entered to the Pariyatti Sasana. Don't worry about your age. No matter who are you. But you are dedicated for the understanding about Dhamma Vinaya, the learning Dhamma Vinaya. This is about, that is why yesterday I am more and more appreciate, and encourage you, please follow the way. Because I already mentioned that I am not a perfect teacher for the teach Vinaya. But in my 100% effort, I will do my best in my knowledge. Actually, not about the problem of the knowledge, but about my language, because English is not my language. But anyway, we have to have good understanding about what we are doing. So you are give the power for the Pariyatti Sasana. And also in Pali text, this called as a Grantha-dura. This is called Grantha-dura in Pali. There are two ways that we have to fulfill in the Sasana. Grantha-dura and Vipassana-dura. Grantha-dura also the way that you can attain Nibbana. How you can attain Nibbana from the Grantha-dura? In Pali says that Sutta, Datha, Vachasa, Parichita, Manasanupekkita, Dittya Suppatividda. Again, I will repeat same thing. Sutta. Sutta means you listening now about Dhamma. You are listening. You listening to the teacher, what he is teach. What is Vinaya? What is Abhidhamma? What is Sutta? What is Pali? Sutta, you are listening. And Buddha says that if you are listening for the any of the Dhamma matter, Dhamma things, then your wisdom will become increase. We call Suttame Panya. Suttame Panya. The wisdom of listening. Even you believe or not, in the past, when the Buddha is alive, every monk is learned from the sutta, listening. In the past life, there is no any technical devices, no any such a comfort environment, no any facilities, but everyone is listening. Not only listening, then they move to the second stage, the Datha. That means keep memorizing their mind. Memorizing in their mind. They are by heart, day by day. Sometimes they don't have a sufficient food. Sometimes they don't have a sufficient sleep. But they are by heart. That is Datha. Vachasa, Parichita. Memorizing. Memorizing. They speak, they speak about Dhamma, they are learn about Dhamma, and they are memorizing. They never stop that. Sutta, Datta, Vachasa, Parichita. Parichita means they improving their self. What is Dhamma? What is the teachers teach? Sutta, Datta, Vachasa, Parichita. Manasanupekkita. Then from their mind they are investigate, they analyze what Buddha is teach. What is this? Within themselves, they learn through the Dhamma. They always trying to balancing their inside, not the outside. Manasanupekkita. Then whatever they learn from the Dhamma, learn from the Buddha, they always applying to their self. Not to the other outside. Applying to themselves, then Dittya Suppatividda. Finally they attain Nibbana. That is why sometimes when Buddha is speak Dhamma, if you are remember that many sutta says that the end of the sutta, many of the people they attain a Nibbana. That is what Grantha-dura. Vipassana Dura is something different. They are fully focused with the meditation, with their completing of their morality. Then they starting the meditation of samatha. Then they are calm, their mindfulness is become very powerful. Then based on that they can move to the vipassana. Then suddenly, if the vipassana is completed, then they become a arahat. The two way is the way that you can attain nibbana. So please don't misunderstand. The learning Dhamma is also very good way to attain nibbana. It's not telling about teacher, it's telling about the Buddha. We call Grantha Dura as well as Vipassana Dura. So if it is so, then now I can clearly mention that the first responsibility towards to the sasana is you should never miss about that. Your ordination life is not for only yourself, but for the sasana. But when you think about the sasana, you have to learn much, you have to learn very well, as well as you have to keep it in your mind what you are learned. You have to be very capability to revise and memorize, as well as you have to teach in future. Even one bhikkhu, you have to help, you have to share your knowledge with them. That is how you can protect the sasana. The responsibility towards yourself is, even you are doing that such a duties, you have to have always thinking about yourself. Why I am become a monk? Yesterday, the last time I mentioned that the sabba dukkha nissarana, that you are always promised to that teacher, Bante, please give me that robe, I want to attain nibbana. That is the responsibility towards yourself. Why you have become a monk? The very important thing is you have to have thinking about yourself. Why I am become a monk? I want to attain nibbana. That also very big responsibility. That is, Buddha says that, the last time Buddha says that, Imencha subhadra samma vihareyung. Imencha subhadra samma vihareyung asunyo loke arahanta. If you are really practiced on yourself, if you are following the pure path in the Dhamma on yourself, then attain nibbana is no one cannot stop. It's in your hand. It should be done yourself, not from the other self. Even when you have become old, you cannot say, I teach this one, I have this responsibility. As abbot, I have this one. You cannot say like that. No one answer for you, no one listening for you. That yourself, you have to have responsibility yourself. I should do this for the sasana as well as I should take care of myself. Both sides you have to balance. Then one day you can happy. As ordination monk, I give my full support for the sasana as well as I take care of myself too. In nowadays, most of the time, most of the monks, they really concerned about the sasana, but they not concerned about themselves. They are always try to help to the sasana, engage with the whatever the activities with the sasana. They are doing their duties, but doing duties or fulfill all the duties is not mean you are successful. You should have to thinking about yourself. There should be a time for yourself as well as. Then otherwise what will happen? The balancing of your life is not what you expect. Then someday you have to worrying about yourself. That is why Buddha says, Pachama vippatisarino ahuvat. Doing such a things, whatever the responsibility of the outside people, for the society, everything you are doing, but you are not doing yourself, nothing. Then definitely you will be worry about yourself. Oh, Now I am become old. I cannot do meditation. I have no much Dhamma knowledge. Then how can I practice? Even you want to practice, your mind is very distracted. You cannot be mindfulness. Then again you are in a suffer. This will happen. This will happen. I guarantee that if you are not balancing your life, especially as ordination monk, in future this will be happen. You cannot avoid that. You know, I can remember one story about Chakkupala Mahathera. The Chakkupala Mahathera, he's become a monk in old life. He most probably his age is old, but he become a monk. At that time, Buddha is asking Chakkupala, there is two ways in the sasana, Grantha Dura as well as the Vipassana Dura. Then Chakkupala Bhante says that, Bhante, I'm not much young now. My life is almost now past. I have very little time for the live. So I think I should decide to Vipassana Dura for better for me. Then he start meditation. So likewise, you have to decide yourself which part is suitable for you. But now at the moment you decide the Grantha Dura is better for you, then you have to be very dedicated. That is what I want to tell. So anyway, now we will move to our content. It's table 2, the great standards. Please go through this 4 is very important. Whatever I have not object to saying, this is not allowable. If it confirms with what is not allowable, if it goes against literally, preems what is allowable, that is not allowable for you. It's a very important thing. So it says, Bhante, then you are not rejecting anything. You have no any rejections. And also there are no any statement, it's not allowable for you. There is no any statement. You also no any rejections, and also there is no any statement also not allowable. But even you have not a permission for that. When you are not permission for that, it's good. Right? Very serious. If there's no permission, it's good. But if you have a permission for you that, if a permission having for that, then it's dangerous. Then you have to understand, there are no permission for that. Please go through again. You also no rejection for that. Even the statement never mention about this is not allowable. But in generally, if there is no any permission for that, it's really good. If the permission is happening for that, it's not good. Then finally you have to understand, then I should not do this. This is the concept you have to understand about the Vinaya. Even the statement not mentioned about that, if you are trying to go to do that, you feel, oh, if I do this, something can be break from this precept, this precept, this precept, then better to not to do that. That is what it says. And second one, same as you are not rejection for that. There is no any statement, this is not allowable. But if you have a permission, it's really good. But if you have a no permission, it's really, if you are no permission, then it's a dangerous. Then again you have a permission to do that. That is what it says. You look at the content, it says, actually this is something clues. When you are following the Vinaya, these are the clues. You have to think generally, whatever the situation happen generally within your environment, these are the clues that you have to follow. Whether I have not object to saying this is not allowable. You have no any object to saying this is not allowable. If it is confirms with what is allowable, it is goes against what is not allowable. That's the point. That is allowable for you. That is allowable for you. The third one says, whatever I have not permitted to saying this is allowable, I cannot say this is allowable because this is dangerous. Then again says, if it is confirms with what is not allowable, then it is confirms with what is not allowable. If it is goes against what is allowable, be very serious, then that is not allowable for you. I think everyone can understand what it means really. This is the clues that you are, when you are following Vinaya, you should have to understand. The last one, whatever I have not permitted to saying this is allowable, I have no permitted to saying this is allowable because it is dangerous. No permission for the saying this is allowable. But if it is confirms with what is allowable, we feel, even we don't say, but we feel it's confirmed when it is allowable. But again it says, if it is goes again what is not allowable, then that is allowable for you. That is allowable for you. This four, every time you have to remind, even you are not by heart, you have to remind what is it means. Some of the facts have, not in the statement. There is no any statement actually Buddha speak. Example, technical things. There is no any place in Vinaya Pitaka how to usage, what are the permission for the using technology. But there is no any statement for that. Even that, when you are using this, you should understand. If I using this, what are the disadvantage? What are the benefits? What are the advantage? Then based on that, you should understand, if I using this, from this side my precepts can be break, from this way my precepts can be break, from this way the defilements can be increase in within myself. Even the Buddha is not saying any words for that, but you have to have understand the way that you have to work within that. That is what it says. So great standards mean, that is why you have to, but that is why just information about this. When you are following the Vinaya, you have to understand these four factors within you. Then you can clearly protect all the precepts if you are based on with that. Because every time we have no teachers, sometimes we have to be alone in the journey. At that time, we need to know clearance. Because if we don't have such a way, then what will happen? Okay, then we will move to the next part, because this program actually we are focusing on the main topics, because we have 1 month. Within 1 month we cannot discuss everything in detail, but I will try to do in addition. If we have to add anything, then we can discuss about that. But the topics very important that you know, these are the things that you have to understand and learn in future, right? Then Vinaya Pitaka, we are focusing on Vinaya. Then Vinaya Pitaka, it's contained in 4 factors. The first one is Matika, Bhikkhu and Bhikkhuni Patimokkas. Then Matika means the topics, especially the main rules. Then the second one is Vibhanga. Vibhanga means the separations. What are the main separations? Vibhanga. Then separate one by one, it's mentioned. What is the Parajika? What is the Sanghadisesa? Likewise. Then it's divided in the rules, they divided in very clear way. These are the precepts that you have to follow. Vibhanga. The Vibhanga is consist Parajika Pali and Pachitya Pali. In Parajika Pali, furthermore, if you want that, you can split that. Parajika Pali, under the Parajika Pali, it's consist 4 Parajika. Then you can slowly write down. And after 4 Parajika, it's defined 13 Sanghadisesa. Then we will discuss later. And also, it consists the 30 Nisaggi also under the Parajika Pali. Then that part is finished. In under the Pachitya Pali, it has 92 Pachitya as well as Bhikkhuni Pachitya, then Patidesaniya, Sekya, and rest of the precepts is under the Pachitya Pali. But later on you can understand this. But this just for your understanding what is Vinaya Pitaka is consist. Then the Kandaka. Kandaka is something, not actually about directly mentioned about the precepts, but Kandaka is really mentioned about the life pattern under the monk life as ordination monk. Then how this ordination comes, especially in the Mahavagga Pali. In Mahakandaka, the first Kandaka is Mahakandaka, it's clearly defined that from the Samanera life until the Upasampada, what is the way, what is the clear way and correct way that you have to follow under the teacher, under the Dhamma teacher, under the Upajjhaya, to what are the duties and what are the things that you have to follow. Those are normally in the Mahavagga Pali, actually every parts, it's one by one, many parts, it's clearly defined the way that you have to understand. That is, Mahavagga mean that separation part is something is very big, that is we call Mahavagga. Because from the Samanera life until Upasampada, that is until ordination life, this is a very big process. What are the things that you have to in the Samanera life? How you can become a Samanera? How you have to behave under the teacher? What are the precepts that you have to take? One by one, the precepts that you have to follow. Then if you want to become ordination monk, what are the qualifications that you have to fulfill? Then how to become ordination monk? If you want to ordination, there should be a clear environment as well as under the Vinaya, there should be pure Sima. Then again they discuss about the Sima. Then they are talking about the Sima things. Then likewise, the major factors, major topics, it's discussed under the Mahavagga Pali. It's very serious. When it becomes to Chullavagga Pali, now you are already know about the entire Buddha Sasana, how it's come and how to become ordination monk. Then what are the main things under the Buddha Sasana from the Mahavagga Pali. But Chullavagga Pali says, within the ordination monk, then if you become some Garukapatti, assume that there are some offense have, you cannot easily clarify, easily you cannot become a pure. Then you need the Sangha help. We call Sanghadisesa. If such a way, then how you become a Sanghadisesa? If you become a Sanghadisesa, how you clear, how you pure your morality, helping from the Sangha. Likewise, there are many instructions given by the Chullavaggapali. That is not about the ordination, that is about after ordination, how to become the pure monk. If you have any faults or something, then what are the things? It is about Chullavaggapali, first Kandaka, Kamma Kandaka. Not only that, in the sasana there are some bhikkhu, they are really very arrogant, they are very anger, sometimes they are making some big troubles to the sasana as well as the Sangha. Then in that case, how to treat such a monks? What are the actions that we can take against to that monks? Those all the instructions given by the Chullavaggapali. Because if you are one day you go through all the Kandaka and Vibhanga, you will definitely understand the Buddha is the great human resource manager. He really organized all the sasana as well as the Sangha without any doubts, without any struggles, how to balance, how to maintain all the things with the balancing. If you go through these Vinaya, you can understand. Without any biasness, very middle way, he balancing all the sasana with these rules and regulations. But no one harm, even the Buddha is established any rules and regulation. I already mentioned that Buddha is why he established the rules and regulation for the benefits of the Sangha Sasana, for the benefits for all the bhikkhu. That is why first day we are discussed. There are 10 reasons. The reason for the Vinaya to be laid down, you see in the 9th one, Saddhammattitiyaya, Vinayanuggahaya. Because of this establishment of all the Kandaka and Vibhanga, no one cannot against, no one cannot say, no, Buddha didn't mention anything about this. Then assume that some of the bhikkhu they are really arrogant, they are really very harsh, sometimes they are against to the elders also. In that case, we cannot hit him, we cannot say get out, we cannot, we cannot remove his robes. Then what are the actions? Because for the lay people, they have a court. For the lay people, they have a court. Then police can catch him, maybe hit, maybe put it into the jail, and the police can take many action against the lay people. But what about the monks? For the monks, Buddha is given the courts. We call adhikarana. There are 4 adhikarana: vivadadhikarana, anuvadadhikarana, apattadhikarana, kichchadhikarana. In later you can understand what are those. Those all the things are indicated into the Kandaka. It's already mentioned in the Kandaka. In such a case arising within the Sangha, this is the way that you have to follow. This is the way that you can solve all these matters. It is mentioned about the Kandaka. So if if one day you fulfill all the Vinaya things according to the main text and commentary and sub-commentary, you feel that, everything is safe. Everything is safe in the sasana because everything is well planned and well established. There is no anything you cannot remove. There is nothing to you cannot add. That is why it says, Paripunnang Parisuddhang. This Dhamma is Parisuddhang. Parisuddham means there are no any excess or less things to add, or there is nothing to remove this. Parisuddhang. Suddha, Parisuddha. Pari upasagga, that the pari word, the pari is using for, is totally pure. There is nothing, any dirty things in the Dhamma. Parisuddha. Paripunna means already completed. everything is completed because of the Buddha's knowledge, Sabbanyuta Jnana. Buddha knows that which thing you have, but which thing he should establish, everything he established. So, however, the Khandaka and Vibhanga, you have to have understand the things. Okay, no. Then the last part is Parivara. The Parivara Pali is actually it's about the summarize of the all the Vinaya, Vibhanga and Khandaka. When you learn Parivara, the last one, the fourth one, then you can revise, you can remember, oh, I learn in Khandaka, I learn in Vibhanga this part, this part, this part. Everything is summarized. It's like, you know, in Abhidhamma, when you learn Abhidhamma, I can get some example. There are 89 chitta. There are chitta, it's arising from the Somanasa Sahagata. Some chitta is arising from the Upekka Sahagata. Then if someone asking, how many Upekka Sahagata chitta? Suddenly you have to calculate everything. From this, from this, Ahetuka chitta is this. From the Ahetuka chitta there is this chitta. From the Kusala chitta this chitta. Likewise, you have to concern one by one, right? The Parivara also something like that. Parivara also, they are asking, how many Tullachya? How many Pachitya? Within the Sanghadisesa, which are the things, it's Patamapattika. Which are the things is Dutiya Yavatatiyaka. Likewise, when some such a question asking from the summarized way, the Parivara Pali is the book, every aspects in Vinaya, they summarize. Which are the common, which are the uncommon. Then suddenly someone asking, how many Sachitta Kapatti? How many Achitta Kapatti? Likewise, when asking, the Parivara gives the answer. Parivara Pali is the book that summarize all the Vinaya aspects as it is. When you go through the Parivara Pali, then you can learn. Whatever you learn, you can revise at once. Oh, that is thing, that is thing. Even I forget, I already learned about this in Parivara Pali. It summarizes all the Vinaya Pitaka as it is. So that is what you have to take the small idea about Vinaya Pitaka. Then again it says, Bante, Vinaya Pitaka is also known as Anadesana. Anadesana. If you go through the Attakatha, it says Anadesana. What is Anadesana? Then I will read it that it is in the Nidana, Parajika Pali Nidana, it says Patama Maha Sangitikata. It has about Anadesana. What is Anadesana? I just read it, just listening. Ettahi Vinaypitakang Ana Rahayana Bhagavata Ana Bahullato Desitatta Anadesana. That means Buddha is the person who has authority to establish all the Vinaya rules. No other, any bhikkhu cannot establish any Vinaya rule in the Sasana. Because Buddha is the only person knows the time, the way, the weight of all the rules and regulation. Then that is why it says, the person who is suitable for the establish the rules and regulation, that is Bhagava. Bhagava is, some of the Bhagavas speak is something like always ordered, don't do this and don't do this. That is we call Anadesana. Anadesana mean every time Buddha is ordered to not to do and what to do. When you go through the Vinaya Pitaka, when you studied Vinaya Pitaka, you can feel that Buddha is This is not about like a Abhidhamma or Sutta. Anadesana mean ordered. Ana mean you are ordering. The Buddha is ordering to do this and do this. Don't do this, don't do this, like that. We call Anadesana. The Sutta Pitaka is something we call Vohara Desana. In generally, whatever the people's mind, it's arising, whatever the developments, the time to time, Buddha is explaining, this is something like this kind of kilesa, this is the this nivarana, this is the this kind of things. Likewise, in generally for the people, Buddha is speaking something we call Vohara Desana. But Abhidhamma is we call Paramatta Desana. In Abhidhamma, it's talking about the reality. What is reality? So normally, in generally, the general society, we cannot straight away speaking about Paramatta. Sometimes people, they don't understand what is Paramatta. That is why there should be some general speak for the people. At once, if we said, there is no me, there is no I, there is no non-self, then it's very serious because they feel confused. That is why at very beginning, the Buddha is speak in very general way. Then if Buddha knows that the person can realize the Dhamma, then Buddha speak Paramatta Desana. Otherwise, he never start from the Paramatta Desana. That is why, if you follow the Sutta Pitaka, there is a Samukkansika Desana, it start from the Dana Katha. First, the people encouraged to the giving dana, giving the offering the food and whatever the things he can. We call Dana Katha. Then they encourage. Then Buddha is show the advantages of the dana, the offering of the food and whatever. Then Buddha is speak, giving dana is not a one only purpose. Then you have to be protect the precepts. You should pure your morality. We call Sila Katha. From that Dana Katha, Sila Katha, it slowly comes to finally the fourth noble truth about Chaturara Satya, the Chatusatya. About then what will happen? At that time, Buddha knows that the person can realize the Paramatta, the reason, cause and effects. Likewise, that is the way he is teaching. So, when we are learning Vinaya, you feel that every time saying, don't do this, don't do this. If you are doing such things, you are an offense of this kind of offense. Each and every topics or precepts when you are following, you can see at the Buddha's time, the bhikkhus are, which bhikkhu is breaking that precept, which bhikkhu is doing that offense, then what Buddha is taking action for that, and how Buddha is treating for that. That is why we call Anadesana. Same. Then, yes, another one is Yataparada Sasana, the B. Then you can see the B, Yataparada Sasana. The offenses are criticized and established accordingly. It's very good understanding that Yataparada Sasana means Buddha is, I already mentioned that the first day, Buddha knows that who is break the first parajika, the person. Buddha knows that the Sudinna Bhikkhu is definitely doing that sexual intercourse. Buddha knows that the Daniya Bhikkhu is definitely doing that the stealing of wooden by the kings, the king's storeroom. Everything Buddha knows. But Buddha is waiting for that. Buddha is waiting for that. Once the things happen, then Buddha establish according to that incident. Because no one cannot blame how Buddha is established such a way as he want. No, Buddha never doing that. Buddha knows the things are happening in future. Even the things happen when the victim bhikkhu is, until he comes to the Buddha, Buddha never established the rules and regulation. When the every evidence and everything come, and the bhikkhu also accept his fault, yes, Bhante, I did this. Because Buddha asking, what are you doing? What you are doing? then he cannot hiding. He knows, Buddha knows everything. Then they confess of what he's done. Then after that Buddha blaming, then establish which rule, suitable rule for according to that offense. That is we call yata parada sasanam. Then it says, Pataman yete pachura parada sattate yata paradang et sasitati yata paradam. That means the bhikkhu, the people are, the monks are really staying, they engaging with the kilesa because they are still not become arahant. Then according to mistake, according to what they are mistake, the Buddha established the rules and regulations according to his mistake. Vinaya is something like that. Assume that someone is doing very small mistake. Can we establish his parajika? Then it's really unfair. Assume that someone is eat at night. Then can we say his parajika? We cannot say parajika. Because Buddha is the only person knows the weight of the mistake. Buddha knows the weight of the mistake, then he established suitable offense for whichever the offense done by the monks. Otherwise, that is why it's coming, the major level is parajika. Then the weight is little bit less sangadisesa. Then weight is little bit less nissaggepa-chitya. Then weight is little bit less aniyata. Then weight is little bit less shuddhapa-chitya. Then the weight is little bit with the dukkata, maybe tullacha. Then the dukkata. Likewise, if you are go through the schedule, the levels of the apatti, then you can understand Buddha is never established parajika for all the offenses. Buddha knows what is parajika offense, what is sangadisesa, what is pachitya. Likewise. So later on we can learn about the names for these offenses, but I just want to explain what is yataparada sasana. Then samvara kata, the third one. Since the restrained and non-restrained related topics are included, samvara kata. That means whichever the mistakes done by the bhikkhu, then Buddha knows the way how he become a disciplined person, and some of the offenses have, even he want to discipline. If he break the limits, then he cannot again recover or again become a pure monk like a parajika. If it is a parajika bhikkhu, there is no any way to again become ordination monk. If Buddha is give any chance for that, what will happen? Then the parajika is nothing for bhikkhu. Because they can parajika, then there is a way to pure, then they do again that, then they become again normal bhikkhu. That is why Buddha, some extended, close all the opportunity to become an ordination monk. That is why you have to protect that parajika very serious way. Because if you become a parajika bhikkhu, in this life you cannot be an ordination monk again. Then that is we call samvara kata mean. Buddha knows which offenses that should close entirely the way that become a pure. Even you become a sangadisesapatti, the sangadisesa offense, then Buddha knows that, oh, even happening this, there should be some way to pure, but it should be not easy. It should be some steps. Then what will happen? Even the bhikkhu is break that rule. When he following the way of purity, then he feel that, oh, this is really very hard. Next time I never doing this kind of thing. The way that Buddha know that how to establish the pure way the way of purity. Other than that, if it is all the mistakes are pure by in one way, then Vinaya is nothing to learn, because you have only one way to pure. Then there is nothing to think. You can do whatever the mistakes, no problem. But that is not how Buddha is teach. That is what called Samvara Samvara Katha. It says really, the weight of the mistakes indicates the way how to become a purity. If you are doing very small mistake, then no worry, then you can have some confession or something, then you can pure. But when you are become a big mistakes, you cannot easily become a pure way. Then you have to follow many things, and you have to confess not for the one person, maybe all the Sangha. Then it's a very serious case. Sometimes you are not happy to do that, but you have to do that. That is we call Samvara Samvara Katha. So, however, these are the synonyms for the Vinaya Pitaka. Anadesana, Yataparada Sasana, as well as Samvara Samvara Katha. So, please understanding about this. Still we are keep in touch with what is Vinaya. This is the foundation. This is the base that you have to well establish in yourself, very awareness of yourself. When you are become ordination monk, always remember that you have a responsibility for the sasana. You have a responsibility for yourself. Then that is why Buddha established such a vast way, all the precepts and the methods that you have to follow. Other than that, he don't want to establish such things. That is why the last time we mentioned that the first rule was laid down 20 years after Buddha's enlightenment. That means after Buddha's enlightenment, within 20 years, there is no any rules in the Buddha Sasana. Because Buddha know in future, not like same, definitely bhikkhu will be break their morality in different ways. Not only the smallest, but also the hardest, the biggest mistake they will done. Then Buddha knows that definitely this will happen. That is why Buddha is time to time, when the incident is happen, establish all the rules and regulation under the sasana. So that is why it says Anadesana, Yataparada Sasana and Samvara Samvara Katha. Even the Vinaya Pitaka Anadesana, we known as Anadesana, in Vinaya Pitaka has many stories also. Vahara Desana also have in Vinaya Pitaka. And Paramatta Desana also have in Vinaya Pitaka. But this call is, the majority part is represented by the Anadesana in Vinaya Pitaka. The majority part is represented in the Yataraparada Sasana. That is why it says this word. When you go through the Vinaya Pitaka, you can see some of the stories, very general stories, maybe sutta stories in the Vinaya Pitaka also. Because if you go through the Patamapa Nidana, then it's clearly mentioned about the whole the Anapanasati meditation techniques and the way of the Anapanasati. But someone can criticize, no, this is not about Anadesana. Yes, that's true. But why we use this word is, in the majority way, in the Vinaya Pitaka is mentioned in clearly indicated all are the things that Buddha has ordered, the establishment of the rules and regulations. But some of the have Vahara Desana and Paramatta Desana also indicate in the Vinaya Pitaka, but that's we are not much concerned about, because that part we can learn from the Sutta Pitaka or Abhidhamma Pitaka. Understand? Okay. Yeah. yourself. Yeah. Yeah.
From defilement or
Kusala.
akusala,
Akusala.
and cultivate kusala.
Yeah.
Then I don't know whether it's so.
From the Vinaya, actually, from the Vinaya, you can only protect the vocally and physically actions. Yeah, mentally actions, mentally thoughts or mentally defilements, you cannot avoid him from the Vinaya. You have to do meditation.
Kusala colors include all.
All include. Assume that you arise in some anger, craving, maybe whatever the defilements arising within you, but you still keep it within you. You not express anything. You are doing anything. You are not doing anything, but inside you are firing. From the Vinaya, you cannot help. From the Vinaya, there is no help for that. Then you have to be mindfulness. That is why the mental aspects not covered by the Vinaya, mental aspect covered by the samatha, that is meditation. The second stage. There's morality, mindfulness, wisdom. These are the three ways that we have to follow. The mindfulness is really helps to whichever the arising in developments within you, then you can keep calm and quiet. You can calm your mind as well as you can helps whatever the arising the developments within you. But from the precepts, only the thing is the arising things are within you. But even if it is arise, you can manage, you can patient for that. No, this is not good. This is not good. That is why you are patient and why you are protect, because when the base, the morality is already mentioned, the precepts and the things, you cannot do this, you cannot do this, you cannot do this, then based on that, you are patient. Because you cannot overcome from the vocally or physically. If it is come so, then the precepts will be break. Because sometimes we have some craving or we have some lust, we have anger. Sometimes we feel to blame to some bhikkhu. Even we have to think, even we feel such a so, we can't blame. Why? Because there's a precepts. Omasavade pachitya, bhikkhu pe sunye pachitya. Then what will happen? We remember that precept, then we break. We are always calm. No, this is not good. This is not good because Buddha already established such a precept. If I blaming, then my precepts will be break. Then you are patient and you are very controlled. You are disciplined because of the rule. That is why Vinaya. The physically and vocally discipline is fulfilled based on the Vinaya only. It is kusala, yeah, that is true. But the mental thing is you cannot control by the Vinaya. It comes mindfulness. I think I understand, right? Okay. Then I think, yeah, we have a small break. We can have some small break. Then we will go through the rest of the part. Then please take a rest, 5 minutes, and come back. Okay. Siale, she didn't come. The recording is available the last time we discussed. The recording the last time we did, then available, then you can go through that, okay? Because the first day you didn't come, right? Can. Okay. The first day recording you can find. I can send it to you. Or maybe you can take from him. Then you can listen, okay? Okay. It's better to learn Vinaya also. Not only it, but also there's a passa, there's a manosanchetana and vijnana. There's a 4 food we can define in according to Abhidhamma. The 4 food: Kabalinkara ahara, passahara, manosanchetana ahara, and vijnana ahara. Then the Abhidhamma teacher will teach you the real English meanings. But when you eat, the 4 food arising at once. There's a Kabalinkara ahara when you eat some food, passa is there, chetana is there, and also vijnana ahara also there. It's very serious. Even we don't think. When we eat more and more, the defilements arising, we don't know even how it's happened. That much very fast. So if it is reduced 1 meal, then what will happen? We are safe. If we can reduce 2 meals, we are more safe. That's the thing. But later on we will discuss about that, why Buddha established such a rules. Okay. So shall we start now? Then Uposatha, then the very important topic. Then you can go through you go through your textbook. The Uposatha. The Uposatha was the 14th or 15th day of the lunar fortnight, therefore the full and new moon. It was recognized as an auspicious, right? Auspicious fast day in the Vedic times. The Uposatha is something, this is the history. How the Uposatha is now, normally ordination monks, every 14th or 15th day we are gathered together and we recite Patimokka. Then someone can ask, Why we are doing this? Where Buddha is introduced and why Buddha is introduced this? Then the text is already mentioned about the history of the Uposatha, how Uposatha comes to the Bhikkhu Sangha. Then it says, these days as well as the 8th are reported to have been used by other religious groups during the Buddha's time. Then that means other religious persons, they are gathered same dates, not Buddha's, not the community of the Sangha. Sangha is still, they don't have such a thing. Then what will happen? As suitable occasions to meet and discuss or preach their doctrines, these meetings became very popular and led to the various sects becoming more well known and respected. That is, in the past, the India societies happen things. But still, in the Buddha Sasana, there is no such occasions like that. That is what we have to understand. That means, when the Buddha is enlightened, suddenly Uposatha is not happen. But even the Buddha is, before Buddha is enlightening, this kind of gathering, the other religious persons are always doing. For the 14th or 15th day, they are gathered together. They discuss, they speak, whatever they have a doubts or whatever the things, they discuss each other. They share each other. Then in the Buddha Sasana, still there is nothing like that. Then what will happen? These meetings become very popular and led to the various sects becoming more well known and respected. Then King Bimbisara of Magadha, a devoted disciple of the Buddha, noticed this situation and thought, well, it were if the venerables should also assemble together. Then Bimbisara, King Bimbisara thought, he feels such a thought, in this kind of thing is happening in the Sangha community of the Sangha also very good, right? Normally we feel, if there is something is good, assume that there are many monks come from the many other monasteries or other countries, because I am also same. When I see something in good method or when I see some good technique within this monastery, suddenly we feel that what? Oh, this is very good method. I also should establish in my monastery also same thing. Normally we feel like that, right? In past days, the King Bimbisara also thought that if this kind of gathered is established in the Buddha Sasana, then it will be very convenient, very useful. He approached the Buddha and explained to him the situation and his own thoughts. The Buddha adopted this practice, setting these days aside for bhikkhus to meet and teach the Dhamma, as well as he also established a purely monastic Uposatha observance, which he limited to the final day of the lunar fortnight. Thereupon the Buddha decreed bhikkhus, I allow you to assemble together on the 15th, 14th, 15th and 8th of the lunar fortnight. So this is the history. And normally we become ordination monk. We don't worry about what is history. We don't need history. If the elders he says, today is Uposatha day, go to the Sima hall and do whatever. If you don't know, just sit and listen what they are doing. Then sometimes we are going, when the elders are worship, we are worship. When the elders are talking, we just listening. When one bhikkhu is coming and he recite what are the precepts, the bhikkhu patimokka. Some of the bhikkhu, they feel sleep. Some of the bhikkhu, they don't know what is reciting. But finally, when it's finished, all are saying sadhu. Then we also saying sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Then it's finished. Then still we waiting. Why? We think now finished? No. Again the Mahathera start again Dhamma discussion. It's not finished. Then very boring, right? Very boring. That is my first experience. Very boring. What is this? We don't know about this. But this is about Buddha's establishment for the Sangha. In Parivara Pali, if you go through the Parivara Pali, they ask one question. Uposatha is what purpose? It's a very good question. Uposatha is what for? The Uposatha is what purpose? Then the answer says that Uposatha for harmony of the Sangha. What is for? Harmony of the Sangha. When we gather together, we can discuss any question. We can share whatever we know. Sometimes, maybe because of the lack of Vinaya knowledge or lack of Dhamma, some of the mistakes are done by every bhikkhu. Then we can discuss. Bhante, I have a question. This is in the text. The text is really mentioned about this kind of rules, but no one follow that. Then we should have to definitely recorrect that. So likewise, whatever have any doubts within the Sangha, we can discuss in the Uposatha day. As well as when we all are gathered together, there is a harmony. Because all are following same rule. All are know what are the rules that we have to follow. That we call Eka Kamma, Ekuddesa, Samasikha. Eka Kamma mean all the community of Sangha is doing whatever the actions together, not in a separate way. When the Uposatha day, they are gathered, all are together. There's someone think, no, I don't like to gather with them. We are coming from visiting, we are a foreign monks. Then I don't want to engage with the Thai monks. I don't want to engage with the Indian monks. I don't want to engage with the Burmese monk. I don't want to engage with the Vietnamese monk. I only engage with the whichever my country's monk. Can we say like that? No. That is the purpose. When the Uposatha day come, all the bhikkhus are under the Buddha's rules, under the Buddha's establishment. Then the community of Sangha has a harmony. Maybe sometimes no one know about yourself, but you can share with yourself, who am I, where I am coming from. Likewise, we can, when we are gathered together, whatever the distance of us, it will be, what will happen? It will be merged. Whatever the physically or mentally, whatever any distractions, then it will merge. We can solve all our doubts, our problems when we gathered. Otherwise, no one knows. There is no opportunity to talk. There is no opportunity to express your things. But within the Sangha, if you express something, the Sangha should give, definitely Sangha should give the attention for that. Bhikkhu Sangha, the community of Sangha cannot reject you. They should listen to you. They have to give some solution. Okay, this is the serious question. This bhikkhu have a problem. Then we have to give us answer. Then Mahathir is the responsible person who should take that topic to the discussion and give a solution. Any question we can solve in the Uposatha day. That is the most advantage. The advantage is arising because of that. When all the problem is solved within the community of Sangha, then the harmony will be arise. All are very happy, very peaceful. There is no any doubt. And other side, if some bhikkhu is breaking rules, then no one can tell. Because maybe because of the fear of him, maybe whatever the reason, then no one telling about that. But Uposatha day is the day that we can tell. No one is explaining, but Mahatheris can explain the situation about that bhikkhu or whatever. Because at that time, we can make whatever the conditions, we can talk whatever the things within the monks. No one cannot reject. That is why it says in the Parivara Pali, the Uposatha is what purpose? Uposatha is for the harmony of the Sangha. harmony of the Sangha. So that is why Bimbisara, the king Bimbisara thought that, oh, this is good for the community of the Sangha. The bhikkhus assembled together as requested, but they just sat in silence as they were more familiar with silence meditation than talking. Then they are not talk, but they are doing meditation. Everyone is come and sit, being very silent. What will happen? People who had come to hear Dhamma became annoyed, vexed, and angry, and criticized them for sitting in silence like dumb pigs. When this was reported to the Buddha, he mentioned his former allowance to include the speaking of Dhamma. Later, when the Buddha was meditating, this reflection arose: what if I were to allow those principles to training, Sikkhapada, the precepts, appointed by me for the bhikkhu, appointed by for me bhikkhus as a recital of Patimokkha, it would be their act of uposatha. Then that is why nowadays, when we are gathered together, we are reciting Patimokkha. Then you can, I think you may have experience, everyone. Then uposatha kamma. The Buddha then announced this proposal to the Sangha and added, bhikkhus, I allow you to recite a Patimokkha. It appears from another chapter in the Vinaya that the Buddha himself would recite the Patimokkha. There are the 3 verses of the next page. To the assembly of bhikkhus, however, on one occasion an impure bhikkhu was found in the assembly, and this led to the Buddha's, what is this verse? Relinquish his attendance at the Uposatha meeting. You know this story. At very first we mentioned about that after Buddha's enlightenment, 20 years there is no any precepts. That means this story should be definitely happening after 20 years, right? Because if there is no any precepts, how we can recite precepts? That means these already precepts are already established. Then Buddha is allowed to, I allow you to recite a Pratimokka. Then what will happen? The Pratimokka also have something, this different manner. That is what it mentioned about that. Maybe we will see here, Uposatha. What I want to show is this one. This one. Furthermore, wait. The Patimokka, we will discuss this one later, but then what will happen when the Buddha is allowed to recite a Patimokka, but in one day, the one occasion an impure bhikkhu was found in the assembly, and this led to the Buddha's relinquish his attendance at the Uposatha meeting, and he furthermore decreed that a bhikkhu who has a fault should not hear the recitation. If he should do so, then his Patimokka recitation can be suspended. Because of this, the earlier time, what will happen? Buddha is giving over the Patimokka. When the bhikkhu is gathered, Buddha is giving advice in a 3 way. Then you can see the table, the other side. Kanti paramang tapo titikha, nibbhanang paramang vadanti buddha, nahi pabbajito parupa ghati, samano hoti parang vihetayanto. The patient of forbearance is the highest austerity, right? Supreme is Nibbana, so say the Buddhas. He is no monk who injures another, nor a contemplative he who oppresses another. Sabba papa sakaranang. What is this three gatha is actually at the very first when the Sangha is gathered, the Buddha is reciting this tree, then the Patimokkha is that this gathering is fulfilled within this tree gatha. But in very first, there are one bhikkhu who is not pure, who is impure bhikkhu is joined with this gathering, that assembly. Not pure, the impure mean he break the rules but he not confess. He stay as a pure bhikkhu. Even he cheated like that, Buddha knows everything. Then when the bhikkhu is gathered, now they waiting for the Buddha. Buddha is not coming. The first part of the night is almost finished. Still Buddha is not coming. Then second part of the night again finish. Buddha is not coming. Then what will happen? Then the Sariputta Thero, Ananda Thero is just going to remind Bhante, today is Uposatha day. Will you participate? Buddha is silent. So likewise, then finally Buddha says that there's a one bhikkhu is not pure that's within this assembly. Then with the impure bhikkhu I cannot participate for the Patimokkha. Then Mahamoggallana Thero, he searched who is the person. He saw that bhikkhu. Then removing his from the assembly, then the Patimokkha start. Then Buddha says that in today onwards, I'm not deciding, I'm not telling over the Patimokkha. Today onwards, you have to recite all the precepts. Bhikkhu Patimokkha, from today onwards, you have to recite the Patimokkha. That day is the day. Until now, we are not following the over the Patimokkha. We are following what Patimokkha? Bhikkhu Patimokkha. We are following the Bhikkhu Patimokkha because from that day Buddha is finished, stop this over the Patimokkha. Then Buddha says that you have to recite all the precepts. When you are gathered, you have to recite all the precepts. Because you know why? When the bhikkhus are reciting all the precepts, reminding, this precept, even you are not breaking, you feel, oh, this also have. That is what the purpose. And also, when you are reciting the Patimokkha, the Buddha says, in real it says that, actually at that time I cannot remember the Pali word. It says, you should recite in very good way as well as by heart. If you are by heartly you are reciting this, that means you always reminding. You cannot forget any precepts because you are in a by heart. Then even when it's going to break, you feel suddenly, oh, this is not allowed to the Vinaya. Then you are stop your action or your word because of the precepts. If you are by heart the Patimokkha, is really good advantage in future because when you are by heart something, suddenly the things comes to your mind when it's going to break. Other than that, when the time is going past, then you forget, oh, is there any rules like that? Is there any precept like that? Because you forget all the precepts. Sometimes some of the basic, some of the very important precepts, you might be forget. But if you are by heart the things, then definitely you can protect from yourself when the things happen. So likewise, that is the stories happen. Then Ovadi Patimokkha and Ube Patimokkha. Then Ube Patimokkha is, we can see the Patimokkha, Ganta Patimokkha and Sila Patimokkha. Is it showing? Yeah. Then the Gantha Patimokka again we are divided into Bhikkhu Patimokka and Bhikkhuni Patimokka. Enlarge, sorry. Okay, right. Then the Gantha Patimokka is whichever the precepts indicated by the Bhikkhu, which we indicated established by the Buddha. Then Gantha Patimokka we divided into Bhikkhu Patimokka and Bhikkhuni Patimokka. The Bhikkhu Patimokka has 5 factors, 5 separations. First thing is Nidanuddesa. The second one is Parajikuddesa. The third one is Sanghadiseshuddesa. The fourth one is Aniyatuddesa. The fifth one is Vittaruddesa. Vittaruddesa is rest of the precepts indicate all within that category. When it comes to Bhikkhuni Patimokka, there is only one thing is not there, that is Aniyatuddesa. Because for the Bhikkhuni there is no Aniyata. Then that is why Nidanuddesa, Parajikuddesa, Sanghadiseshuddesa and Vittaruddesa. This is how the Patimokka, the Gantha Patimokka is separation. So I think you have idea about this. Later we will, now these are the things we are teaching in this, within this month. What is Nidanuddesa, that is Parajikuddesa. Likewise we are go through the one by one, then we can learn in later. I just give the chart for that, for your purpose. If you want, then you can just note it down. Any question? Okay. Right? Of course, but it should be according to the Vinaya, according to the, it should be applicable for the Sangha, the community of the Sangha, not for the other things, other problems. Assume that if there's a monastery matter, if there's a matter it's really harmful for the Sangha, then we can discuss. We can discuss within the Sangha, then Sangha should be responsible, especially Mahathera, then he should take a decision of. That's thing, the real thing is, the thing is, you know, there are opportunity to discuss, but normal thing is, Bhikkhu is not bringing the problems within the Uposatha time, because, you know, the Uposatha time is something they want to do that, but actually not like these days. Because these days, when the Uposatha start, all the bhikkhus are looking at when it's finished. They want to run to the rooms, right? They want to run to the kuti and they want to be rest. But earlier days not like that. When the bhikkhu is gathered at the evening for the Uposatha, they are staying there until midnight. They are discussing, they are sharing Dhamma, and they are asking many Dhamma matters. They are Dhamma talk, everything is there. But nowadays what will happen? All have a separate rooms. They have a separate world, very individual. They don't engage, they don't like to even engage with the teachers even. Then they like to stay their own life because they have technical devices. They have many works with them. Even the Uposatha date, when they gathered together, they always try to, when it's finished, suddenly finish, they are disappear. They don't want to stay there. That is how it's happened, but that is very normal. But yeah, because of that is the capability of the Mahathera. The Mahathera has to have some capability to gather them long period. But nowadays, everyone is like to be very free, very their own way, not gathered with the bhikkhu and discuss the things. Actually, even we are speaking Dhamma talk, very few of them, they like to listen. That's the thing. Especially for the bhikkhu. Bhikkhu is always like to speak Dhamma, not listening Dhamma. Bhikkhu is thinking, I know Dhamma, why I am listening Dhamma? Because I also speak. But earlier times, not like that. Even the small monkeys speak Dhamma, they are listening. They say sadhu. They are really accept that. And they discuss their problems, they discuss whatever the Sangha problems, whatever the things. Then sometimes they are starting some Vinayakam also, maybe Parivasa, maybe whatever, then they are discussed. But nowadays it's changed. Nowadays they want to go sooner and take a rest. They want to sleep. Maybe nowadays that is the advantages of these devices. Now we have internet and everything. Then they are in their world. They don't want to gather with the people. Not only the bhikkhu, but also the lay people also, especially the small kids. Even they don't engage with their mother and father. If they have a devices, they go to room, lock the room, they deal with the devices, maybe playing games or whatever. So same thing is happening in the bhikkhu sasana also. The community of the Sangha also same. Earlier days there is no any devices, no internet. Every time they are gathered, they are discuss what Buddha is saying. Even they want to meditate, they are gathered and meditate. They are sharing their Dhamma things, their experience. But nowadays it's very rare. Even we have to happy that in today we have some opportunity to gather together and learn Vinaya and talk Vinaya. This is very good opportunity. That is why I am really happy about this. Even my English knowledge is not much. Whatever I know, I can. That is why I am share the content of the Vinaya, because this is very good opportunity. But in Sri Lanka, in my monastery, there are 35 monks. Every day we are learning. We are teaching Vinaya, Abhidhamma and things. Every day the abbot also planning to some schedules. The most of the time gathering, because when we are gathered together, we have no independence life. Everything is depending whichever the schedule program. Then very lack of developments. There are no any cravings or something. Is very less, because every time we are open to the Sangha. But if we covered by ourselves, no one knows what we are doing, then safe. We feel safe, but we are not safe. We are in a danger. Am I right? Yes. We can. That we can do. Because in the Buddha's time, no one hide anything. Everyone is complaining. This Bhante is doing, this one is doing, this one is doing like this one is doing like this. No one cannot hide. That is how the community of the Sangha is well-being. They develop each other. Nowadays what will happen? Even we saw, we never explain, we never express. Oh, who cares? That is none of my business.
If I make a suggestion in Sangha, the senior Bhante tell me, oh, metta.
Can be. Because of that, because senior monks knows that if you are point out the issue for that purpose, if you are raising that issues within the Sangha, maybe the issue will be solved, but that bhikkhu will not stay there. Definitely he will go. That is happening nowadays. That is why most of the time the teachers also silence. The teachers know that if it is going to talk with this, then it's a danger. Then it's better thing is slowly advise, slowly approach for that person individually, but not within the Sangha. But the earlier times not like that. No one care. Who can stay, who have to stay. Who cannot, they have to go. That is the way. The Buddha is know how to approach to any bhikkhu, because Buddha is Sabbanya. But nowadays no Buddha, then we have to face some kind of things. Then what I answer for your question is, we can any discussion starting within the Uposatha day. But nowadays, only the reciting precepts is limited, then finish, everyone is spreading out, everyone is vanished because they don't want to stay with long period of time because they have many individual works. That's the thing. So tomorrow we will discuss. I think we have to discuss little bit fast because we have very limited time. The discussion is something going very slowly, but still we are starting. Then now we will discuss tomorrow calculating the Uposatha as well as the rest of the part. So calculating the Uposatha is not a big thing. You know, every 15th and the 14th day in the month we have a Uposatha. That means for the month we have a 2 Uposatha days. Because we have, for the month we have a 30 days. That means if it is the 14th or 15th day, it means we have a 2 Uposatha day for the month. That means for the year we have a 24 Uposatha days. So likewise, we can calculate in the things how it is happening. There are 8 Uposatha in one season, and there are and 3 seasons in the year. All except the 3rd and the 7th Uposatha are of 15 days duration. Pannarasi, we call Pannarasi. If the Uposatha is arising in the 15 days, we call Pannarasi. If the Uposatha is arising in the 14th day, we call Chatuddasi. The others being 14th days, Chatuddasi. In one solar year, there are 6 Chatuddasi Uposatha. That is why it indicates 6 into 14, the 84 days, and 18 Pannarasi Uposatha, then 18 into 15 is 270, for a total of 354 days. That is how the year is separated by the Chatuddasi and Pannarasi. Then tomorrow we will show how it's calculating and the things, the days, how it's happening, because now already time is finished. Then from here we will start tomorrow calculating the Uposatha. Then I think you can get idea about this. Then rest of the part we will continue from tomorrow. Thank you very much. And also we will spread the metta for the Deva and we will finish the class. Akasattha ca Bhummattha Devanaga Mahiddhika Punyantang Anumoditva Chinan Rakkantu Sasanang. Akasattha ca Bhummattha Devanaga Mahiddhika Punyantang Anumoditva Chinan Rakkantu Desanang. Akasattha ca Bhummattha Devanaga Mahiddhika Punyantang Anumoditva Chinan Rakkantu Mamparang. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, we will respect to the elder Thero. Then after that we will finish. Okay.